Canelo does something that is amazing when Canelo was able to go to light heavyweight and become light heavyweight champion. Something that I didn't even see him doing that. And he
lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, first time in that division and jumping 2 divisions.
Terence Crawford being, to me, my favorite fighter. I mean, the best fighter pound for pound can be Canelo. I mean, a 147-pounder moving up to 68.
Floyd Mayweather explains why Terence Crawford cannot defeat Canelo Alvarez, emphasizing the huge weight disadvantage. He points out that moving up several divisions isn't just about talent, but about coping with size, power, and stamina at the top level. Canelo has consistently battled naturally larger men throughout his career, while Crawford is entering unfamiliar ground. Mayweather believes this difference will be too much for Crawford to overcome, despite his remarkable technical skills.
Because of the weight disadvantage. I can't go all the way up to 180 or 190 pounds.
Robert Garcia stresses that Terence Crawford's lack of experience at super middleweight presents one of the toughest challenges of his career. Although Crawford has dominated across many divisions, entering Canelo Alvarez's natural weight class is far riskier than his past moves. Garcia highlights that Canelo has spent years mastering his skills against naturally bigger opponents, while Crawford has yet to prove he can keep his sharpness, speed, and endurance at this size. The trainer warns that Crawford's frame hasn't fully adapted to extra weight, making him appear slower and less dynamic than before. This could be critical against Canelo, who thrives at this level.
Jumping 2 divisions where he only had 1 fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, about that. And that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford, but I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I
think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for 1 punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford, Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not, but I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure. And hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
The analyst underscores the massive stakes of the Crawford versus Canelo matchup. He argues that if Crawford can conquer Canelo's size and power, his legacy would reach extraordinary heights, placing him right alongside Floyd Mayweather in the all-time great debate. Beating a fighter of Canelo's stature would secure Crawford as the best pound-for-pound star of his era, eliminating any remaining doubts about his record. However, he also clarifies that such an accomplishment wouldn't automatically surpass Mayweather's legendary status. Instead, it would rank Crawford immediately behind him in boxing history, as Floyd's unbeaten dominance and era-spanning success remain unmatched. Still, the opportunity makes this fight a defining chapter in the sport.
3-time undisputed is insane. If you were to beat Canelo, Terence Crawford, at that point, pound for pound, right under Floyd. Right under Floyd. Wherever you got Floyd, I put whatever you got him, Terence Crawford is right behind him. Unless you got him first. Okay, how about me? Because I don't have Floyd in my top 10. I have Pacquiao over Floyd. So I know somebody's about to get moist, but I would put Terence Crawford, man, that's old school. That's Henry Armstrong, Sam Langford. Like that's old. That's Joe Gans and Barbados Joe Walcott and Barbados Joe, not Jersey. I'm Barbados. Like, that's old school accomplishments. Man, that's throwback though. I would have to assess that. 3-time undisputed in the 4-belt era, and against who? Yo, that I don't think Pacquiao would have I don't think he achieved anything in a single fight that would be greater than Terence Crawford jumping up 3 weight classes and beating Canelo. I don't think Pacquiao achieved anything in a single fight greater than that. Not in a single fight. Beating Cotto, I still, because Cotto was weight drained. Has Floyd done anything? Well, he beat Canelo.
Jeff Mayweather reacts sharply to Canelo Alvarez, claiming that Crawford is better than Floyd. According to Jeff, such a remark is less about facts and more about Canelo seeking validation through comparison. He explains that because Canelo lost decisively to Floyd Mayweather, claiming Crawford is superior provides Canelo a subtle excuse for that defeat. Jeff argues that while Crawford is highly gifted, he hasn't yet matched Floyd's dominance or his remarkable accomplishments in boxing. For him, Floyd's flawless record and his control over elite fighters throughout his career speak volumes, and no comparison should exist until Crawford proves much more.
Well, also, if we remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw, and then the other 2 judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
yeah, what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Yeah, very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
are you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying. To make himself look like he did something great.
Joel Diaz completely dismisses Crawford's chances, pointing toward the massive size disparity. He reminds fans that Canelo has traded blows with powerful punchers who possessed both strength and resilience. If Canelo could withstand shots from someone as dangerous as Golovkin, Diaz questions how Crawford, who has only fought men near his natural size, can cause serious damage. For Diaz, Crawford's incredible skills cannot overcome the physical gap. He notes that fighters often underestimate the impact of jumping weight classes until they feel the strength of naturally bigger men. And in this case, Canelo's toughness and raw power create a mountain Crawford cannot climb.
You ask him who Skull is, they don't even know who he is. I don't even know who he is. But they chose him for a reason, right? Guy with a good record. But
he's a champion.
He's a champion.
He's got the other stone that's out there that Canelo needs to connect. Again, the fight against Terence Crawford.
It's a fight for Canelo to win. Simple as that. That's what I can tell you.
Then in September, if Canelo wins, he's got Terence Crawford waiting in the wings.
There is no way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. A 147-pounder moving up to 68. He can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he'll hurt him. Let's put it this way. You remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andre?
Yes.
Demetrius Andre was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. Look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andre was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it's over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. Turkey on the cheek. It's a big fan of Terence Crawford. Wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that. That's all it is, man.
The debate over ring size for this fight adds another strategic layer. Whether the ring ends up being 18 or 22 feet, experts argue the difference won't drastically change the result. Crawford's supporters believe a bigger ring allows him to use his movement and angles to outwit Canelo, banking on his slick style to offset the Mexican star's pressure. However, analysts emphasize that Canelo has fought in both small and spacious rings and adjusted effectively every time. While a larger ring may offer Crawford a minor edge, it likely won't counter Canelo's natural size and strength. Ultimately, execution will determine the outcome, not dimensions.
One of the biggest things in this Canelo-Crawford fight we are not talking about is the ring size. If these guys are fighting in the non-traditional 18 by 18 ring, you're gonna want to put your money on Canelo, guys. It is a big difference. Losing out on that extra 4 feet is gonna be an issue for Crawford. It's still possible. Crawford's talented, he's athletic. He has all the potential in the world to pull off a crazy upset here. No matter the ring size, it don't matter. Terence Crawford's that brilliant, he's that excellent. But I'm gonna tell you, man, losing out on that 4 feet is gonna hurt his odds. It's the same thing with 22 feet. Like I said, I don't know what ring they're going with, but if it is in the 22 feet, it's gonna hurt Canelo's odds by a pretty decent margin. Maybe not as much as it's gonna hurt Crawford odds in the 18, but it's still gonna hurt it. You're giving Crawford an extra 4 feet to pivot, maneuver, slip, bob, weave, do whatever he wants. That's gonna give Canelo some issues. I feel like we're not talking about this enough. I heard Turkey said it was gonna be an 18. That was a really long time ago. Like I said, I don't know if they've confirmed what it's gonna be quite yet, but I think it's interesting. Once we get the official announcement, you guys, that's when you place your bets.
Crawford's commanding victory over Errol Spence has convinced many fans that he can challenge Canelo. That performance highlighted his timing, versatility, and ruthless finishing skills, leaving zero doubt about his supremacy at welterweight. However, analysts warn that Spence, despite his talent, isn't a naturally bigger fighter like Canelo. They cite Israel Madrimov as an example of boxers Crawford hasn't faced, true larger opponents capable of testing his limits. Meanwhile, Canelo has repeatedly encountered men even larger than himself and still succeeded at the sport's peak. The concern is that Crawford's brilliance at welterweight may not translate against a physically dominant super middleweight like Canelo.
Hey y'all, the simple real fact is, Terence Crawford never looked that good fighting anybody but Errol Spence. Another real fact is, y'all put too much on Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Y'all feel like he just beat fucking Jesus or Thanos or something. Okay, I get it. Errol Spence was that guy. He beat him. He dominated him. He won that fight. But y'all take that and y'all put so much on that fight, but then y'all look at the Madrimov fight and say, he was a tricky fighter. He's hard for anybody. No one can beat Madrimov. He's the best, second best fighter in the world because he went 12 rounds with Crawford. Not the case. Y'all put too much on the Errol Spence fight and y'all don't put enough on the Madrimov fight. Then we go back to Canelo. Y'all say Canelo, he don't stop nobody. When last time he knocked nobody? If he can't knock out Berlanga, he's not gonna knock out. If he can't knock out him, he's not gonna knock out Crawford, bruh. Just like Crawford went up to 54 and he couldn't get a knockout, Canelo has gone up to 75. He couldn't knock out Bivol. He went up to 68. And those guys are way bigger. He's fighting guys way bigger than him. Crawford could knock out Madrimov because he's his size. So you think he gonna knock out Canelo? He's bigger than Canelo. Bro, Canelo got a granite chin. I don't know if y'all know the Canelo. And the only people who saying that Crawford's gonna knock Canelo out is people who has to be casuals. They probably have not watched a fight since the Tank last fight, or they probably ain't watched a fight since the Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford fight. Cause I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all niggas didn't even see that Madrimov fight. Y'all just synced it and y'all running with it. Cut it out.
Gabe Rosado reflects on Canelo's defeat to Floyd Mayweather, calling it a defining moment in the Mexican champion's career. At that time, Canelo was still developing and lacked the experience to handle a defensive genius like Floyd. Rosado argues that while the loss was humbling, it became a crucial lesson shaping Canelo into the fighter he is today. Since then, Canelo has grown mentally, refined his tactics, and learned to manage multiple styles. Rosado suggests this evolution makes him far more dangerous now than during the Floyd fight, and Crawford must contend with a hardened, battle-tested version of Alvarez.
Could be too soon for Xander, but who knows, man? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like Do you feel like Canelo needed more seasoning when he fought Floyd? Or do you think that Floyd just got his number, period?
I think he was very inexperienced when he fought Floyd. You know, he's a different fighter, but see, everybody's different. That fight is what made Canelo become the fighter that he is today. So, you know, that's why boxing, man, is like when they shame guys for losses, it's like, man, you just got to really see how a fighter bounces back from a loss. It's like, because, you know, when Canelo lost to Floyd, there was a lot of things that Canelo learned in that fight that he added to his game. Next thing you know, Canelo started moving his head and his counters got better and his speed, and he understood timing. He understood how to like break guys down differently because he learned that off Floyd. So I think it was a good learning experience for Canelo. And then, you know, I think that kind of fight is gonna help him in the Crawford fight.
Sebastian Fundora cautions that Crawford might underestimate the toll of fighting Canelo. He explains that competing at super middleweight demands more than physical readiness. It requires long-term adaptation, something Canelo has mastered over years. The Mexican star has built his career thriving against bigger men regularly. Crawford, in contrast, enters this division for the very first time, which could leave him exhausted both physically and mentally. Fundora believes the aftermath might expose how much strain Crawford endured in challenging a man who dominates his natural weight class and thrives in the division he calls home.
Could be. We'll see what PBC has first.
To play with Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo.
What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 150, 168. You know, that he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, you know, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, you know, of course he's probably been training, you know, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're gonna have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's gonna take a toll.
What about Ennis? He's the new addition to 154. He's yet to fight there. Canelo brought him in camp specifically because he's a switch hitter like Terence Crawford. What do you make of Ennis just not being in your division and then him contributing to Canelo's camp heading into this fight? Is that a good move?
I think it's good for Canelo's camp to have a fighter like Ennis. Because, yeah, he likes to switch right-handed, southpaw. I think Canelo probably didn't need that. But, you know, the fact that Ennis might cause a little bit of drama. I think he did for a dramatic effect. But, you know, great fighter at 147, but 154 is a different division. They have me in there, so we'll see what he can do.
Critics often compare the entertainment value of Crawford's style to Canelo's. While Crawford is technically superb, some claim his fights lack the thrilling exchanges that attract casual fans. Canelo, by contrast, has earned a reputation for excitement, delivering knockouts, body-punching masterclasses, and high-stakes clashes. Even if Crawford beats Canelo, experts argue he wouldn't instantly become boxing's biggest star. To claim that spot, he would need to conquer other elite names like Dmitry Bivol, proving his strength against bigger, more dangerous rivals. Only then could Crawford command the same global presence and fame that Canelo currently enjoys.
More nervous, you know, the closer you get, the more outlandish these statements were. We had one outlandish one that his fighting style is not entertaining, right? Canelo's fighting style is more entertaining than Terence Crawford's. I don't know what lens you're looking through, right? Well, why isn't Terence Crawford's fighting style entertaining? So that's one thing. Well, here's the next one. Now, I don't know. Check this out. They're saying that Terence Crawford won't even be great if he were to defeat Canelo Alvarez. He won't be great if he defeats Canelo Alvarez because all the stuff he's done until now, becoming two-division undisputed, beating a lot of undefeated fighters and a lot of fighters with one loss, seems to not be anything. But even beating Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, four-division champion, undisputed super middleweight champion, none of that would matter because they list fighters that he would have to beat to become great. And most of them are fighters that 4-division champ, Canelo Alvarez, that he won't fight. He would have to beat Artur Beterbiev, right? Canelo ain't fighting him. He would have to beat Dimitri Bivol, who Canelo won't fight again, definitely at 168 pounds, because he wants to fight him at 175, because he wants to have the excuse that that weight could be too big for him. Dimitri Bivol wants to fight Canelo Alvarez at 168, so he can become 2-division undisputed. Canelo doesn't want that. But Crawford has to beat that guy, right? Crawford has to beat David Benavidez as well, right? We know Canelo doesn't want to fight him, but Crawford has to beat him to become great, right? Remember, Canelo's great already. Then he would have to fight David Morrell,